What's going on, everybody? You back rocking with your boy, Sweet Science Show on the air. I'm currently on my way to the gym. And when I get home, I'm going to enjoy some time with my family and study for my personal trainer license. So I wasn't going to have much time to do this video, but I wanted to do it today because I feel like it's important. It's a hot subject to me, and I'm passionate about it, so I want to speak on it. But I have just found out that Canelo Alvarez and the Reynosos have called out Jermall Charlo, baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so excited. I'm so relieved because one, you know, before I even started my channel, when I was thinking about starting a channel, I had Canelo Alvarez as my pound for pound #1 fighter for about 2 years. Maybe a little bit longer than 2 years, but for sure for about 2 years, I had Canelo Alvarez as my pound for pound #1. But once he kind of got caught with the clenbuterol, and then got the franchise champion bestowed upon him and decided to, or it seemed like he decided to not fight Jermall Charlo, and then went to DAZN, and then ever since he's been on DAZN, all of his fights have been lackluster. So, you know, with all those things considered, you know, the last couple years now, I really haven't been too big on Canelo Alvarez. You know, Canelo always kind of struck me as the kind of guy who, you know, he cares about what people say about him, to the degree if you call Canelo a coward, I feel like he'll take offense to that. He'll respond to that. You know, that doesn't affect some people, but I feel like Canelo would respond to that. He doesn't like being put in conversations like he is ducking smoke, like he don't want no smoke. I don't think Canelo likes being spoken about like that. So it's very possible that this entire time that he's been with DAZN, maybe he has wanted to fight Jermall Charlo. And, you know, it's not, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it is just the fighter's decision, but at the same time, this is a lot of networks, you know, involved in this, his team, things like that. So I get it if he himself, you know, couldn't specifically make that decision at that time. Now, Jermall Charlo has been calling out Canelo for years, at least 2-3 years. And a lot of the idiot fans had the nerve. Some guy tried to tell me earlier today or yesterday over Instagram that Jermall Charlo ducked Canelo. But that's ridiculous because Jermall Charlo never received a fight offer from Canelo Alvarez. So I don't know how you duck somebody that never sends you an offer to fight. But nevertheless, that's what they were saying, some people, is that Jermall Charlo was ducking Canelo when maybe neither one of the guys were ducking each other. Maybe it just wasn't lined up due to business the way it was supposed to, and now it's coming to fruition right on time. So, you know, if indeed what Canelo has done is shaking himself free of DAZN and Golden Boy and turning around, and the first thing that he does is calls out Jermall Charlo, that gives all the dignity back to Canelo from me. Not that he cares or needs it, but from me that he lost. Because I had lost a lot of respect for Canelo, because I just kind of feel like, you know, as a fighter, man, even though it happens all the time, as a fighter, you shouldn't be ducking anybody. You shouldn't duck no smoke. If, you know, if a fighter accuses you of being afraid of them, fight them. You know, this is the fight business. You didn't get in this game to avoid people. You got in this game to actually do the opposite, to run into people, pretty much. You didn't get in this game to avoid people. You got into this game to fight people. You got into this game because It's a warrior sport and it's a lonely sport. That's why you got into this game. So I don't like seeing fighters duck people. And when I see them do that, it just puts a bad taste in my mouth. And it makes me sick to my stomach when I see fighters do that. You know, if you fight a guy and they accuse you of cheating, right? If you fight a guy and you get accused of cheating, you whoop his ass again. If you beat him fair and square the first time, you know, if you get accused of cheating after you beat a fighter, the warrior spirit and the competitive spirit in you says to yourself, no, fuck that. I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat your ass again. If you're accused of cheating, you know what I'm saying? So this means a lot, you know, coming from Canelo and his camp, you know, to fight Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo is a monster. He's a boogeyman at 160. And if Canelo can pull out this win against Jermall Charlo, I would have to put him on my personal list back atop the pound for pound #1 with Jermall Charlo at #2. So yeah, I mean, you know, this is what we've been clamoring for. This is what we've been asking for the best to fight the best. And so, you know, this gives me the utmost respect and admiration for Canelo for making this call as soon as he got free, or started to even get free, of Golden Boy and DAZN. So that tells me that Canelo does have the cojones. He does have the heart, you know? And that's what a fighter should have. So now that we've gotten that out the way, that they want the Jermall Charlo fight, let's talk about that fight for a second. You know, this is the first time in a long time, or probably period, where I think of Jermall Charlo in a fight and I say to myself, like, damn, oh shit, man, hey man, I cannot for sure say this one is a sure thing. I'm not jumping ship on Lions only. It's Lions only to the end. It's bomb squad till the end. It's man down to the end. It's strap season to the end. It's the one till the end. I stay loyal to all the fighters that I like, as long as they don't start doing weird things. But even with that being the case, you know, sometimes when a fighter that you like, when they fight somebody that's talented, man, just as talented and just as monstrous, you want to be a logical boxing fan. You don't want to be like, oh, he's going to beat him, and not analyze the fight. People who do that are casuals. So analyzing the fight, man, I don't know who is going to take that home out of Jermall Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. Now, how do I see the fight going myself? I like to envision fights. That's what I did with the Gervonta Tank Davis, Leo Santa Cruz fight. The evidence is on my channel. I put it out before the fight even came out. I didn't give you a series of rounds. I didn't say 6, 7, 8, or 9. I didn't do that. I gave you a specific round, and I gave you how that knockout was going to happen, and it happened exactly how I said it was going to happen. Because I like to envision fights. And when you envision fights, you have to think about the skill set of the fighters. You have to think about the temperament of the fighters, how they fight, how they respond to, how you've seen them respond to getting hit. You have to think about, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. Now, as far as Jermall Charlo, he'll have the incentive of, he's been wanting this fight for a long time. His whole life has led to this moment. And I do think Jermall Charlo will rise to the occasion. I think that we'll probably get the best Jermall Charlo we've ever seen. I also think that Canelo Alvarez doesn't like to feel like people are saying that he's scared of someone. And he knows the danger of Jermall Charlo because him and the Reynosos have spoke on Jermall Charlo before. So I think we possibly might even get the best Canelo Alvarez we've seen thus far. So with that being said, you have to look at their fight styles. Now, Canelo Alvarez puts a lot more combination punches together. Jermall Charlo puts combinations together, not as much as Canelo, but you have to look at the reasons why. if you have a guy who is stronger than another guy, and he wants to throw a, let's say, a 4-punch combination, and he hits a guy with the first two when the guy falls down on the first two, I mean, it's not really his fault that he couldn't get the whole combination off. He's just that strong. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, for the weight of 160, I'll give Jermall Charlo a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10 for strength at 160 for Canelo, I'll give Canelo a 9, 9.5. I don't think he's quite as strong as Jermall Charlo, but I think Canelo's a strong-ass guy, dude. I don't know, man. I think round 1, that's always a fill-out round. Neither one of those two, because I think they're going to respect each other supremely. So neither one of those two, I think, are going to come out in that first round acting ridiculous. So, you know, I don't really see much happening in the first round. The second round, I don't really see much happening. Canelo is probably a more flashier guy in some of the stuff he does. So I could see Canelo getting ahead, and he's favored. So I could see Canelo getting ahead on the scorecard early. So that will be round 2. Round 3, they'll probably start to stiffen up their punches. Round 4, it would set in to both of them that it's going to be a long night. I think they'll both respect each other's power still at that point. Around round 5, you're going to see it start to get turned up. And when it gets turned up around round 5, I still think it would pretty much probably be really even. Round 6, I'm not going to say Jermall's power is going to start to take over, but I think you will start to notice subtle differences. Like Canelo maybe not wanting to get hit, not taking the chances to get hit in round 6, because that he would respect supremely at that point at Jermall Charlo's power. Round 7, by round 7, those guys are going to be in there. They're going to be getting it in. So I still don't see the fight over by round 7. I see it still being a great fight. Round 8, I don't see the fight ending in round 8. Round 9, I don't see it ending in round 9. I see Canelo getting hit with something big and hard in round 9, but I don't think I don't think it's gonna knock him down, but I think it's gonna wake him up. I see Jermall Charlo getting that hit returned to him round 10, but I don't see it knocking him down. Round 11, both of them are going to come alive. Now, here's some things to think about. Round 11, you have to take into account that Canelo has, I think he has a bum knee. I'm not going to call it a bum knee, but he has, if you notice in a lot of Canelo's training videos, he wears that knee brace. I don't know if it's I don't remember if it's his left knee or his right knee, but he wears that knee brace. And Jermall Charlo's going to push, but I don't really see him knocking him out. I don't even know about knocking him down. I don't know. I think that fight possibly might go to a decision. I think it goes to decision. And I think if it does go to decision, it could very well go to Canelo Alvarez, simply for the fact that, one, he is favored a lot of the times in his fights. And I think he's going to be busier. He's going to put more things together than Jermall. So I think if it goes to decision, which is, you know, again, this still team lions only, but see, in America, and especially with black fans, we don't just say the black guy's gonna win because he's black. You have to really analyze these fights, man. And just because we're fans of someone doesn't mean we just pick them every time blindly, or we don't, you know, think that they could possibly lose a fight. So I think my prediction on Jermall Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez is a 12-round fight, and Jermall Charlo probably taking his first pro loss by decision. That's what I see. That's what I foresee for Jermall Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez. The Canelo camp, they have said that they want that fight next year. So at some point in 2021, we'll be seeing that fight. I can't wait. That date can't come fast enough. You know, given that this whole pandemic is, you know, pretty much little to none at that point, and we can still get fights in there. And if we are able to get that fight, man, you know, it's still Lions only to the end. But I'm gonna have to say I have to pick Canelo in a 12-round decision versus Jermall Charlo. Now, let me say this. If Canelo beats Jermall Charlo, I do believe that he deserves to go back to #1 on the pound-for-pound list. However, if Jermall Charlo beats Canelo, then I'm going to have to say that the Charlos are 1 and 2 pound for pound. If Jermall Charlo beats Canelo Alvarez, he deserves to be #1 pound for pound because he deserves to be on the list already. It is absurd that he's not on that list already. But if he beats Canelo Alvarez, especially if he does it looking good, he definitely deserves to be #1 pound for pound. Just like Canelo deserves to be #1 pound for pound if he beats Jermall Charlo. And that, I mean, I personally feel like Jermall Charlo is pound for pound #1 right now. So if that happens, we're potentially looking at two brothers making history for the first time ever being #1 and #2 pound for pound. So, you know, man, that's going to be a crazy fight. I'm excited. You know, the haters will tell you boxing's dead. The diehard MMA fans will tell you that, but boxers continue to get bigger purses than MMA fighters. And people are still talking about boxing, man, left and right. And we got great fights coming up. The last 2 years have been on fire for boxing, man. So if boxing was dead, it's resurrected. It's a zombie. It's back to life, baby. Again, you rocking with Sweet Science on the air. Subscribe to the channel, beat the like button up, and I'm gone.